the brothers that are students that are thousands of miles away from their parents that want to get married. How are they going to get married? Our daughters that are raised here that wants to get married. Instead of closing the door, instead of saying, you know what? We're from Egypt and you're from Bosnia. We're from Palestine and you're from Sudan. So you can't marry them. You have to go home and marry from your same country. We need to break those barriers and move to what? To make the halal easy to them. Second responsibility is education. I'm taking over my time now, so I'm going to cut it short. Second thing that we have to do to protect ourselves is education. Brothers and sisters, I don't think there's any time in history where all kinds of education, worldly or secular, has been more accessible and easy than today. We were driving by earlier, what was it, Kaplan University, an online university. You can get a bachelor's degree, master's degree, and a PhD online. Online, not even leave your doorstep. You can listen to any imam that you want, from the Haram, from Mecca, from Al-Azhar, on the internet. A brother showed me a website that has 14 translations of the Quran in any language that you want. You go to YouTube and you can find videos of anything. Haven't been to Hajj, you can get pictures of Mecca and people making tawaf and doing Hajj. So education is very important to us as Muslims. The brother said it much better than I can ever say it, and I'll summarize with it, which is, one learned Muslim is better than 1,000 uneducated Muslims. Because an uneducated one is someone that is emotional, that goes in different ways. We all know the hadith of the person that killed 99 people, and he went to what? To a worshipper. He didn't go to an imam, he went to a worshipper. He said, I killed 99 people. La ilaha illallah! You killed 91 people and you want Allah to forgive you? No way! He said, if Allah's not going to forgive me, kill them, 100%. But then he went to the scholar that knows the grace and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is what realigned him back again. The third responsibility that we have as Muslims is towards the rest of creation. The rest of creation, we have a responsibility in helping people. But now we have to make that masjid and we as people responsible for it. And let me ask you a question. What are the things that would let people bring their kids, bring the man, the woman, the son, the daughter, all of them come to the masjid? What are the kind of things? We need to think proactively and find what they are. You know what? If you have a school that is competitive, I'll bring my kids. You know, a lot of the most educated people in Muslim worlds and Middle Eastern countries send their kids to Catholic schools because they're the best. In Sudan, the best schools are Catholic schools. So the best educated people in Sudan left all the Muslim schools and the public schools and went to Catholic schools. And if we have a good Muslim school, in South Florida there's an academy called Nur Islam Academy, where Christian kids, wallahi, Christian kids are sent to learn in it. Because part of the graduates that graduated the high school there from Nur Islam went to Harvard, went to University of Miami, top schools. So they send their kids. So we talked about it yesterday, institutions such as what? Schools, we need to build them. What are the other things? Entertainment. If there's entertainment, I'll take my kids to it. If there's a movie, I don't mean I'll take it, and don't misunderstand me here. But I'm talking generally speaking, on behalf of most of the people. If there's a movie, we'll take our kids to it. If there's a concert, we'll take our kids to it. If there's entertainment, we'll take our kids to it. Why don't we bring that here to the masjid? Like the brother said earlier, we have a Muslim rapper within us. Why don't we teach that skill to our kids that they have it? That they're listening to those Muslim lyrics. Even better than that, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had Zayd ibn Thabit. Who was Zayd? He was the poet of the Prophet ﷺ. In today's terms, he was the rapper of the Prophet ﷺ. But his raps, as they say, were tight. He defeated anybody and everybody. A community came to him and said, Muhammad, we will be Muslims, but you know what? Our poet has to fight your poet. And of course, Zayd won that, and that is why they became Muslims. And he had his way of doing things and approaching people. And I'd love to get a CD after we're done, inshallah. But Zayd had different ways of approaching people. When they're in the battlefield, he would say things that motivated the Muslims. When they're in the battlefield and they're feeling the weaknesses, خلوا بني الكفار عن سبيله إلا نقاتلكم على تنزيله. The Muslims get motivated, energized. He's walking by Mecca and Medina, and there's a lot of people that are not even Muslim. They're checking out the girls. And you know what he says? بانت سعاد فقلب اليوم متبول. He starts by saying, wow, Su'ad has just shown up. Su'ad is a very common Arabic name. He says, Su'ad has just shown up. She appeared. And my heart and breath are taken away. When you hear that, you're like, oh man, I got to hear this. This is one of them romantic songs. And what you don't realize is the next verse. He continues to say that my heart was taken away by the glory and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he starts to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he had that link to attach to people. Institutions that have to do with schools, for the school and everything else. But what do we need? Organization, dedication, commitment to build our own schools here. The second thing that we need to do is doctors need to volunteer within the community. Computer programmers need to volunteer within the community. Engineers need to volunteer within the community. We need to raise education within the Muslim community. That every single Muslim is what? Is educated and raised. And another point that I think I added last night for the ones that were not here is the importance of internship, especially with our youth. Do not let your son who is in high school or daughter that's in high school ever work for minimum wage, even if you need the money. All the kids in high school want to work at the mall and McDonald's and whatever. I'm not saying it's haram or halal, but what I'm saying is put them in an internship. What is an internship? You go to the city mayor and you say, well, you know what? I want my son to be an intern. What does that mean? You're not going to pay him a single penny. But he's going to come in every day. And for 1 year, 2 years, or 1 summer, or 2 summers, or 3 summers, guess what your son has learned? He has learned how to be the mayor of the city. He has learned how to do a lot of the things that happen in there. He's met judges. He's met police officers. He knows every single thing in and out. How the bids go out of the mayor's office, how this, how that. By the time he's done, and a question was asked earlier of the brother that was here. My time is completely up. It was asked about the brother that was here. What is the youngest age to run for office? In a city that's about 15 miles from Detroit, Michigan, 4 years ago, a high school kid was not happy with the incumbent mayor, who's been the mayor for over 8 years. That high school kid at 18 years old ran and became the mayor of the city. Yes? So brothers and sisters, 3 things that all of our khutbahs and our speeches have to be about. Thinking and how to convince the people to think the right way and readjust their thinking. The soul, which is the worship of Allah and purifying it to be in the path of Allah. And the body. Then follows those 2. Second thing, we have 3 responsibilities. Our responsibility towards Allah, towards ourselves and the rest of creation. The first one is toward Allah, and that is to worship Allah, glorify Allah, but make it something that everybody does. A communal thing. We pray together. Our kids, our schools, everything accepts us as Muslims in our worship. The second thing, our responsibility towards ourselves, certain things, educational, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And finally,